Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again in the day two session of soft skill development. Hope you all were able to grasp the inputs being shared in earlier session, that is yesterday. If in case you feel there are any queries, any clarification needed further, feel free to reach to me. Today, we'll mainly focus on how to write a CV or a resume, and also will focus on the interview skills and the tactics which are required mainly to crack an interview successfully. So let me share my slides with you now. The first thing which comes into mind is what is a resume or what is a CV and why it is needed. A basic question where everyone needs to think on. It is pretty much clear, everyone is aware that we need this resume or the CV just to crack a job, or it is the first building step or first moving step in further to get into the interview. So resume will get you in an interview. It is a marketing strategy. It is a marketing piece that presents you in the best possible light. It is not an application. It is not also the summary of your academics and work history. It's a big no. If you ask someone and if someone tells you that the resume will showcase your summary of academics and work history, no, it won't. It is not. What it is then? It will actually depict your personality. It is basically an observation or the points noted by the one who is going to hire you or the one who is going to recruit you. He observes you the time you step into the room till the time you step out of the room. Your each and every move, your body language, your facial expressions, your way or your expressions to respond to their queries, the negation, everything is being keenly observed by them. That truly depicts personality and truly depicts your resume. Your background, your capabilities. Now, capabilities comprises of two things. First is your strength and next is your weaknesses. So you need to be very sure and very precise in what your strengths are and actually what are your weaknesses. Your accomplishments. What all comes in your accomplishments? It is pretty clear. Your achievements, your rewards, your awards, your recognition, your social contribution, your appreciation. This all comes under accomplishment. How organized you are, that is how well versed and how well acquainted you are with any term which you specify, you know you are very well versed in it. Your sense of quality. So now, on a lighter note, frankly speaking, on what a resume is, it is a chance to write for your future. Let me repeat. When you write a resume, you need to write in such a way that you are going to depict your future in that small document. So be grateful for it. And so let's master the art of resume writing. I'll make sure that once this session is over, you will carry or you will take back the following 6 points about the resume back at your home. So the first point which we'll take in your bag is you first need to understand what a resume is or what a CV is from both the perspective. That is the one who is going to seek the job and one who is going to hire you for the position. You need to understand both ways. Next thing you're going to take back home is determine that when actually you have to write a CV and when actually you need to write a resume. You need to know the similarities and you also need to know the differences between both of them. Moreover, you need to work on your strengths and weaknesses. You need to be very specific while you specify your strengths or your weaknesses. There are multiple formats. Mainly there are 3 formats of resumes. We'll go in detail later on. So you need to be very specific while choosing your resume format because each format has its own identity and has its own importance and it withstands different from each other. Next, you have to be very familiar with all the sections that will contribute or constitute to an effective resume being placed in front of the person who is going to hire you. And the last is you always have to work on the current trends, whatever are going in the market, to let know that your resume resembles the same. That, for example, if languages like Python, MySQL DB, everything is in boom right now, or new techniques of DevOps, all the tools which are in boom right now. And if you mention that I know only Java, C, C++, will that person be in position to hire you? Because what they want is the person who knows much more besides the basic things. So you need to be very specific what actually is going on in the market, what is trending now, which technology is trending, which tools are being used, what is the back end of what are the applications, how automation is moving on. You need to grasp all the knowledge. You need to be surrounded all where you need to focus on all round things which are going in the environment, and then ensure that you mention the points which relate to you in your resume, which will help to outstand from the others, and the key to open the door for working in the position you want in that company. So first all will know what actually a CV is, or what actually a resume is. Now whenever I go, or if I get a chance, and if I ask someone who is just in the last year of graduation, I ask them, what are you preparing now to get a job? They say we are preparing on resume. We are writing the skills, we are taking the skills in practice, we are preparing the resume. That's what we are doing right now. But I just doubt sometimes that, are you really writing resume? Are you seriously mentioning and you said you're writing a resume? Is it? Because you don't have any past experience of the jobs. And when you're applying for the first time, you never write a resume. So there is a misconception here, which I need to make clear, that whenever you're applying first time, it is your CV which you are putting in front of that person. It's not a resume. Resume comes with an experience and with very well where you have to just summarize whatever you have done so far. But whenever you are applying for first time, it never comes as a summary, because it's your first time and you need to impress it. You need to take the position in your hand. For that, you will require the details of your qualification and details of your achievements, your skills, everything that contributes. And that is your CV. So whenever hereafter, moving ahead, if someone asks you when you are in college days, or you're applying your first time job, if someone asks you what are you writing, what is the first step you're preparing for the interview or to get the job is, you need to say I'm writing or I'm preparing for a CV, or I am preparing myself, I am presenting myself, I'm going to marketize myself through a CV. There's one more thing I have observed, and it's been practiced, or I don't know what to say exactly, but 90% of the people, while writing a CV or a resume, they copy paste everything. And it is true. You all will accept that. Even the objectives, the main thing on which you will be hired, you copy it from somewhere. You copy it from net, you take sample resumes, and you just capture, this is very catchy, this is very nice, it has all the marvelous big title words. So what you do is, it is well oriented, very nice, well versed technology, very very proactive, all these things are very glossy over there, and you just like that objective and you just put it in there. But if someone asks you one day that, tell me the meaning of the words you have put it in your resume, and do you actually mean what you put it over there, or what you are actually that person who depicts in your resume, At that moment, you are unable, because you don't even know that what all words are there in that resume objective. So my request is, whenever you have to copy something, make sure that is relevant to you. And if you ask me personally, I will say, please don't copy anyone's resume. Please don't copy anyone's objective, because your objective is what you are going to define yourself. You know your strengths, you know your capacities, you know your skills. Just highlight that and prepare objective. You don't need anyone else to tell what your objective is, because you in your life know what is your objective in getting a job. You are focused, you are communicator, you are goal oriented, market that. But if you're not good in communication, if you're not good at focusing, if you're not good at concentrating, why are you writing that in your resume? Does that make sense? Because if you write that you are highly focused, and the time you sit in front of them and you start fidgeting, looking here and there, and you're fumbling, then they'll get to know that this is a fake resume. This doesn't really imply what you are saying. It doesn't depict what you are. So my request is, never ever copy anyone's objective or the resume. You can refer multiple of resumes, you can refer n number of CVs, but take an idea of how to write a format, how to prepare yourself, what all keywords you need to mention in that, what is the flow of it, how well and best resume can look like. But you don't need to copy the words what they are saying. So basically, defining a CV is nothing but it is giving you the details of your education, your qualification, the jobs, if any, you have in your past experience, or the one whom you are going to apply for a job. On the other hand, the resume is just a summary of all this which contributes in your CV. It will only focus on the key points, that is key aspects of the skills, your achievements, your latest qualification. Now, if we consider CV and resume, these both are basically marketing material, okay? They are just the marketing material. It tells the prospective employers why you are good, why you are fit for that position in an organization. It is going to define this. An important note is, I repeat again, which I previously mentioned among the 6 points, I repeat again, that you should be attentive, alert, observant to the trends and the changes which are affecting in the world outside. You need to be very keen in knowing all this. Now, what comes whenever you are applying for a job? The resume is a document, right? But if we think in the perspective of the one who is applying for a job and the one who is going to hire you. So there are two perspectives which will always come in picture when you are either preparing your resume or either you're going for an interview. So if we see from the perspective of the person who is applying for a job, what will be his motive in that? It is pretty much clear that the one who is applying for the job, his motive will be to secure the job. That's it. To give the best of the interview and to be posted in that company anyhow. This will be the motive of the person who is going to apply for a job. On the other hand, if we look after the person who is going to hire you, what is his motive behind it? Why is he hiring you, or what are the qualities on the what basis he is going to hire you? So it is very simple. What are they going to do is they'll get 10 to 15,000 candidates if they are starting their recruitment in a bulk. They'll get a bulk recruitment. What are they going to do? They are going to segregate, they are going to classify, they are going to crunch all the candidates, and they're going to bring the number down to 10 or 20 as much as possible. And what are now these defining categories which are going to shortlist you? First of all, they'll go for the educational history. 10,000 people cut over there. Next, they'll go on your track the record of your job performance. Again, people cut. They'll go on your work experience. Again, people cut. Then they'll start collecting all the documents. And now finally they'll shortlist the people. This is their motive. And what after shortlisting they'll give? They'll take resumes from you, they'll carry out the interview, and at the end, they'll promise you for the best professional life they can offer you and the best job they can give you. So that was main the purpose of what actually the motive of the job applicant and the one who is going to recruit you from their perspective. If we move on further, what are the similarities between a CV and a resume? Or there are only differences between them? Definitely, there are few summaries. We can say similarities. First of all, both are the applications, or we can say both are having the same purpose of searching a job. They are going to marketize you. They both are the marketing factors, marketing documents, marketing yourself. They both have a standard format in which you need to write. They both are very well organized in distinct sectors. Okay. The differences between them both, you can say, as the first thing I told you when we were speaking about CV and a resume. The CV is basically a detailed version of all your qualifications, your education history, your job history, your skills, your accomplishments, so on and so forth. But if we compress all this, if we summarize all this, what will come out is the resume. The next important difference between these two is CV comprises of 2 to 3 pages. It can go on extending. 3 pages is the max limit. But the resume is going to be only of 1 or 1.5 page. That's it. Because it's going to be a summary. It is not going to be a lengthy process where each and every fine detail will be mentioned. It will only consider your key aspects. Moreover, the CV will be more formal. Okay. And resume, it may or may not contain promotional language. Okay. Now, your goal is to produce a winning resume. Okay. You should always make sure that whatever you are preparing for, you should always prepare for a success. And that is a winning resume. That means you should be immediately shortlisted among the so many piled up resumes together, bunched over there. I hope everyone wants to see their resume file on the top of all the bunches being listed down there, so that you are being called for interview and you are able to crack that and get the job or seek the job which you are dreaming of. So to do that, basically, we'll have to follow a logical sequence, okay? A logical sequence of right moves. It has 3 right moves. First move will be, you need to explore yourself first. You need to explore yourself, your own education, and your own work life, which also includes your name. That should be always a full name. Dates in the sense when you're joined, when you have completed. Okay, a full date format, date, month, year. Okay. Next is the place from where you have completed your education or where you have worked in the past history. Your skills. Now your skills are going to define what you are. You need to be very specific while you apply for your skills. You need to always apply relevant skills which you actually incorporate in yourself. That if you don't have a goal-oriented skill in yourself, then you can't mention that you're a goal-oriented. Because if sometimes a question pops up that tell me what is the target in your life and you are not answerable to that, that means you're not goal-oriented. So you always should mention only the relevant things which you actually incorporate in yourself. And lastly, the accomplishments, that is the achievements, awards, recognition, whatsoever you have earned till date. Okay. The next move yours will be, you need to translate your skills. Okay. kindly listen. You need to translate your skills into the language of your job you are seeking or industry that interests you. Now, what does this mean? It is pretty much clear. You want a job in an IT firm, you want a job of a developer, okay? But the job position which is open, it is open for support, it is open for a translator. Are you going to apply for it? No, you're not going to apply for it. Why will you apply? Because that is not the thing which you are actually interested in, or what actually fascinates you, right? So what comes in mind is some people go on applying each and everywhere, whether that skill matters to you, whether that profession matters to you, they are least bothered. They just go on applying and applying, applying. कहीं तो लग जाए, कहीं तो मिल जाए. It is that. कुछ भी वो कर लेंगे काम. But that is not the actually what is the need. If you are specifying in your resume that I am looking for a development or a developer position, then why should you go as a translator? Why are you applying for other job profiles, right? So you need to think before you apply, and you need to always interpret your skills before you apply for a job. The last move, which is very important, you need to present the material, that is your all documents, resume, in such a way that holds the attention of reader and reveals the very best out of you. That is the third most step, okay? So for that, what actually is needed is you need to follow FRC rule. I repeat, FRC rule. That is, you need to be focused, very focused. Your resume should be very powerful, that outstands everyone. And it should be concise, very crisp, very neatly, and very well organized format that takes you, outstands you from other candidates who are applying with you. Now, while creating a resume that is an error-free, clean, focused, targeted resume, what all you need is, first thing to will require pen, ink, paper, margin, spacing, or if someone is typing or going to prepare it online, desktop, laptops, cell phones, internet, so all. These are the basic needs, right? But what are the main focused secondary things which comes in mind before you prepare for writing a very clean, error-free, a nice, organized format resume? You will first of all need organized data in effective manner. I repeat, organized data in effective manner. Next, you need to present all the complexities, all the complex information concisely, that this one who is going to read will understand what actually you are saying. You need to pay attention to each and every minute detail you are mentioning, the words which you are using, the qualities which you are specifying. You need to communicate in a very clear and a focused way. No lingering here and there, no miscommunication, no chance of using any other words. You need to show enthusiasm in your writing. That yes, I am and I want this job. And why I want? Because I have so and so qualities. You need to be focused. You need to write it very well. You need to be very keen while you specify each and every quality of yours. You need to show you have very useful skills. You need to show them. First of all, you need to always make a list of what actually skills you have and what actually skills you are lacking. The skills which you have inherited it. That's very well, that's good. But the skills which you don't have, make a list of it. Try and incorporate the skills which you don't have. Try to learn them, try to develop them. So that when you list it in your resume, when you go out and speak that I have these skills, automatically there is a chance to get into any of the job portal or job profile. So here comes the step where you need to think that how my chances to be successful in an interview increase. To get in the interview, how can I manage to increase my chances to outstand with all the candidates who are going to be interviewed today with me? So what all I can do is, the reality must be, and it is, reality is, you must stand out to be selected. That is, you must be outstanding. Next is the time factor. Your resume must sell you as the strongest candidate in the shorter time. Your resume must sell you, that is, must marketize you or must depict you to the one who is recruiter very strongly in a very shorter span. That means you need to be very focused on how you write the resume. You need to be very precise while writing. Then the visual input, that is very important. I always mention, and in my last session also I mentioned, that your first impression, whatever you create, is your last impression. In this case, your resume is always going to be your first impression, and then the rest of the things will come. But if your first impression is not good, then what matters for the rest of the things? It hardly matters, right? So, while preparing the resume, you need to prepare in such a way, or CV, you need to prepare in such a way that it looks so nice, so neat, so organized, so effective, that the person who is there will feel that this resume or this CV is really impressive. And I am here to just look for these kinds of CV only. And I just want this person to be shortlisted right now. So that is your first impression, which will count and which will go forever. Next comes the relevance. Now, this comes in picture when you have to tailor your resume as per the job requirement. So if the job states that you require good communication skills, then you need to modify your resume with perspective to the job position you are seeking for. So tailoring of your resume is very important. And how your resume looks, basically, that matters a lot. Now, what actually the recruiter is looking for? Okay, we prepare the resume, everything is done from our side. The first question comes in mind, that what are they going to look? Are they very interested in your resume, that the 2-3 pages which you're going to hand over them or whatever you're going to mail them? Are they really interested in those things? I don't think so, that paper matters so much for them. It is just a key, or it is just a one step to get into the company, or that is the gateway, or you can say that is the gate pass for me to be a part of that interview. But what are they looking for? Are they looking for your grades? Are they looking for like what, how you are going through your academics, how good you are at academics, how good you are at sports, where do you stay, your full address, your contact number, your email ID, your date of birth? Are they looking for all these things which you specify mainly in your document? No, definitely not. They are not going to look at this. So what is their lookout? The person who is going to hire you or recruit you, their major lookout is, why should they hire you? Why are they in position to hire you? What matters them? What drives them that they should hire you? What reason have you given them in your resume or while speaking that differentiates from all, and you need to be a part of their organization? Why should they hire you? What can you value add to their organization? They already have many expertise working there. If you are part of that organization, what all things you can contribute in that? What value added you can give to their organization is their main motive. how can you best contribute to their company is their main motive. They don't look on any of the things besides this. They just want to hire you because they want to get to know that how good you are and how your qualities or your skills are going to contribute to our industry or our company, and how our company will grow if you are the part of our organization. Because if they hire you and if the organization has no use of hiring you because they are degrading themselves, then that's of not use. They'll always think from the perspective that if this person comes in my organization or my company, I will be growing, and that's what each and every organization expects, that is growth. And for growth, they need the best candidate and the effective resume which will impress them. As I repeat earlier, there are three moves, that is FRC: focused, powerful, and concise. So basically, you need to focus on the competencies designed by employees. You need to be powerful using effective action words. You need to be concise, maintaining a clear point that precises the meaning of what you want to state. So I think this is pretty much clear on how successful or how best or the winning resume you can write on. Moving further, I can state that there are three types of resumes, basically. Okay, so the types of resume are chronological, functional, and combinational. Okay, so chronological and functional play the most important role. Chronological is the one thing which we regularly write, that is the CV or resume which we are writing in our day-to-day life, okay, which we use most frequently. The functional one is rarely being used, and it is more descriptive and more focused on the skills, okay. And combination is combination of both chronological and functional, okay. So if we have to think that where we can use a chronological resume, it is basically when we have a steady work history, okay, there is no gap between any work experience. It is the first time you are applying for any organization, okay. After the academics you are applying, in that time the chronological comes in picture. You are finding a job or seeking a job in the same streamline where you are being posted first time. That is, if in management, then I'm going to continue this management line only. I'm not going to move from management to development, okay, or testing or this. I'm not going to change my streamline. I'm not going to change my branch. Okay, at that time, I am going to use chronological because I have same work experience, same work history. Okay, and when I have worked on a very well-known company, I'm going to use the chronological format. Okay, the next comes in picture when I'm going to use a functional format. Okay, if I am changing my career and I'm changing my field, okay, so if I'm changing my background field from, if I'm account student and I'm going to apply for a post where it is an IT industry, I'm going to change my career, I'm going to change my field completely. So there the functional format comes in picture where I need to give a description or a descriptive wordings about my skills, my qualities, more on my academics. Okay, or you have been somewhere demoted from some of the other post in past company, you had a gap, so at that time this functional resume will come into picture. Moving further, now there are various sections now will come actually in the picture where we have to write a resume or a CV. So there are various sections in which we have to compile our CV. So as everyone knows that first of all, whenever we start preparing a resume, it comprises of the contact information. First comes the contact information. So what are these contact information comprised of? It will come of your name, a full name, address, very crisp and to the point address, not like I'm staying at this post next to this building, below this room, next to this one, in front of this one. No, a very precise one-liner address. Okay. Then you will have to specify your contact number. Okay. Then your email ID. Okay. And some of the people have blogs. Okay. BLOG, which they create, or they own their own websites or URLs. You can be very free. You can just mention that URLs or blogs below your email ID. That is very impressive thing which you are doing, and that outstands you from other candidates who are applying. Then the next thing comes in picture is the heading. Heading, that is other words, very simple words, we call it as objective. Right? The personal thing or the personal statement which you are making, you don't have to copy it from someone. So for this, just let me specify that there is a 10-second rule. Okay, there is a 10-second rule. That is, your resume only has 10 seconds to impress or to be rejected. Okay. The people are going to select you or reject you depending on the objective you are mentioning. They don't have enough time to just go and drag down and down and down and go through all your points which you have mentioned, like skills, your qualification, pass out from where and where, your personal details, your skills, your technical skills. No, they are mainly focused on, and they'll only decide if to go further or not depending on your objective. So your 10 seconds are so important for a recruiter that in 10 seconds, by just reading your heading or objective, they're going to decide whether they want to select you or whether they want to reject you. So how to impress your reader with a strong headline or strong objective is, it describes, or you can say the best objective will be that which describes you only and your goal only. It describes your goal and you only. It will be the key expertise and experience you need to specify in that, and your key achievements that outstands from everyone. Okay. The third point comes in picture will be your summary of qualification. It is the best selling point, I must say. Summary of your qualification. You need to start always with the descending order, that is the highest degree will always be on top of it, with the year of qualification. And if you are okay to go with, you can specify your grades, or you can just write first class with distinction, first class, second class, whatsoever, or pursuing right now, or I'm passed in so and so year. This I will mention here that whenever you are writing or specifying the summary of qualification, you should always make sure that you should have a tabular format for it. Okay, you should always represent your qualification summary, that is your educational history, in a format of tabular one. There should not be any bullet points in this. Then the next thing which comes in picture is the professional experience, if you have any. The time, if you have your professional experience, you need to mention the companies you worked in so far with the descending order, the latest one on the top, the dates you joined, you left, the location where it was, what all work or the position or the role which you were hired for, and what all the tasks or the duties you were following on that. Okay, so you need to give your entire description on your professional career. Next comes in picture your skills. Now this skills will be bifurcated. Mainly you should bifurcate into two things. That is the primary skills and the secondary skills. The primary skills will be the most your own skills which drives you. Okay, which are your very key skills. That all comes in your primary things. And secondary things or secondary skills will be those which you are going to learn, or you are keen to learn, or you are a very well learner in that, you want to develop that skills, and you are good at it, not best I will say, but you are good and you are very interested in developing and incorporating it, you should mention in the secondary skills. Next is achievements you need to mention. So it will all be your talents, basically, your extracurricular activities, your certifications, technically, non-technically, both. Then special honors if you have been made, any recognizations, any rewards, any awards you have been secured. Now these achievements will always be in descending order, and first they'll focus on all your technical things, and then later on you have to specify the extracurricular things that were not technical, not meant that you were being head of some or the other department, you were being leader of any organization, or you leader some, or you were the best team member. So these things will come later on, but first of all it will come that if you were the first rank holder, or you secured the first, second, third position in so and so education history. So the sequence goes on. And one more thing to note on, if you have secured or if you have completed any of your certification, make a note that whenever you mention that you are certified in so and so field, you should mention the certificate ID without fail, because that specifies that you have actually completed the certification. And if they want, they can directly go there and they can verify your certificate and download the badge. Okay. So before we move on, I'll just like to say that there are some tips which I want to give you on this resume. Is you should always be very keen and very eager, very well known to the current trends which are going around the environment. Okay, around the globe, whatever things which are going on, all the technology related thing, all the social related things, all the political related things, you should be aware what is coming next in market. Everything you should be aware of. Which technology currently we are working on, what is trending in market, what will be the future of this, and why the previous technologies are being dumped or they are being upgraded. What was the need? You need to be very clear on these things. You need to anticipate and embrace the change, whatever is changing in market. You need to anticipate, you need to accept the fact that we are right now in digital age, and the challenge we have to do it to yourself, to ourselves, is to think way different from everything now, because this is the world, this is a changing world, this is the digitalized world, and this is challenging world. Think of your job from an owner's perspective. Okay, you need to think where you want to work. Okay, from their perspective, not from your perspective that I want a job is your perspective, but why should they hire you? You need to think from that perspective and you need to prepare in that way. You should not think a job, you should not think like a job is something owed to you, but as an opportunity to contribute your skills to an organization. Stop living career life in crisis management and make a move and think in an achievement way, which will drive to a success, definitely. That's all about, that's all about how we can write a resume, how simple it is, and what all factors need to be constituted in that resume or CV, and how you're going to marketize yourself using your CV or resume. The next part of the session will be the interviewing skills. What actually you require to crack an interview, or what are the tactics you require to be the best in clearing the interview. The first thing which comes in mind is people go on preparing so much, so long, takes so long days. They go on preparing, but they don't know exactly what is expected and what you should prepare for. So before you want to do something, Before you want to get into the interview, first focus on what actually a company is, what actually the company is looking for. Then prepare yourself without looking for what your organization is, what the position is, what the job you are applying for. You are not in the right position to prepare yourself, because you'll be preparing something which is not expected, and an unexpected question which comes from the opposite side will make you completely blank and leave you nowhere. So the blunders which comes in interviewing are: you don't prepare. Sometimes some people in overconfidence go that मुझे तो सब कुछ आता है. They ask, I'll answer them. Okay, fine. You don't prepare yourself, you get out of there. You dress inappropriately. You have poor communication skills. Your cell phone goes off, or your cell phone is left in your high volume, loud one. It's not muted, it's not silent. You talk too much. You have very fuzzy facts. Fuzzy facts in the sense you are not very sure that whether this thing is correct, this thing is not. You just go on speaking, blunder and blunder. Oh, wow. You give wrong answers. You try to manipulate the answers. You keep on changing the answers. You forget to follow up. These all things are going to take you nowhere in the interview. Nowhere. You will be just moved out as easily, because they don't have any specific reason that they say that we are not impressed only by you. Why should we hire you? Why should we move one step forward to know on what skills you possess? So if you want to prepare for an interview, the first and the foremost step will come in picture is you need to research the company. If TCS or Infosys are been providing you with the job, what is the first thing which comes in your mind? Should be you should know what the company is. What the company is, what the company is working on, what all products the company has, what technology is the company, what is the turnover of the company, who is the CEO, all the entire background of the company you should be aware. And this is very simple. You get it on one click, that is on the website of the company. You'll be able to get everything on the company's website for sure. The next step comes is, depending upon the job you are seeking for, the background of the company, you need to update your resume in such a way. You need to update the resume, you need to prepare the resume so as suitable for the job application wherever you are making in any company. You need to line up all your documents starting from your qualification, your 10th standard mark sheet, your 12th mark sheet, your any other extracurricular certificates, maybe in sports, maybe in educational wise, or your awards, your certificates, your medals. Everything should be aligned so well in a file or in a folder. Okay. And basically, for one more thing is, you need to carry multiple copies of your resume. You should always have 2 to 3 copies of your resume in your file in the front side, and later all the documents regarding the your education, your past relieving letters, whatever experience letters you might have, your certificates, everyone will come in one file. Okay. You need to always acknowledge and anticipate their interviewing questions. Okay. There is always a site of each and every company where there are dummy questions being asked. There is a list of basic questions or a questionnaire where common questions will be what? First thing will be what? What questions can they ask? They can ask you why you want to work in a position, why you want to work in a company, why you want this position, why are you looking for this position in our company, why you choose our company. There are so many companies. Why are you not going there? The most common answer they get that this is my dream company. Is it? Or is it something, the fact real behind, that you just want to be a part of that organization to prove yourself? So these are the commonly asked questions, that the reason to be in a company, the reason why we should choose you, the reason how you are going to contribute to a company if we hire you, what all skills you possess, and main thing is they want to know on your future career needs. Because if they hire you and if they're planning for a task of almost 4 to 5 years, and if your plans are for higher studies after 2 years or 1 year, then why will they hire you? They won't hire you because they want the person who is going to have a long term in their organization, not for a short duration. While they'll invest something on you just for 2 years, then they'll choose something alternative which will be long lasting with them, and they can invest in that, which will have really great success to their organization also. So think before you mark, and think before you take a step forward, before you plan for your career. You need to have your future plan in the plate. Then only you can forecast in front of the person who is going to hire you. The next question will come is, tell me something about yourself. Now here I have one story to share with you. Okay, not a story actually, but this is the most important question which will decide whether you stay here or you just move, because this is the one of the best questions. Tell me about yourself. Once, anywhere, any type of interview, any field interview, any company interview, the first question they'll ask you is, tell me about yourself. You go in any of the training, day one will be, they'll say, write down, tell me about yourself. At least 4 to 5 points, half page, 1 page, whatsoever you want, just write down, tell me about yourself. Now, let me give you a scenario. You submitted the resume and you waited patiently, and finally, okay, for getting a call from that person on the company you have been submitted your resume. And finally, you get a call from them. You are being called up for the interview as your resume has been shortlisted. They call you up, they say that please show up me on this time, this date, whatsoever it is. You just go, consider yourself, you're sitting in front of them, and your interview starts. And they ask you, can you please tell me about yourself? Please help me understand what you are. Now, you panic. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You start fumbling. You start to shudder. And this is the real thing which happens when suddenly you go there and someone asks me, please describe yourself. Please tell me about yourself. You just get blank. You are shattered from inside. And halfway there, the conversation you say to yourself, I believe it. Why did I even say that when I was knowing what to answer? Why was I blank? And you start blaming yourself. You never get a second chance. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Usually, that hiring manager makes up his or her mind in the first 3 minutes during the interview. Do you make a good impression? No, you didn't, because you fumbled, you were blanked. So how to create or how to respond? Okay, I'll give you just example. Okay, how to respond in the best way and effective way. I have hired multiple candidates, okay, and I can tell you how many times I see people kind of struggling with this question. But however, there are incidences, okay, there are incidents that are like we are highly impressed with the response they have given, that what are they and actually what are the qualities they have. A little script, let me forecast you. Okay, so there's one scenario, take in consideration that I'm asking a person that tell me about yourself. Okay, now the person who is asking you this question, that tell me about yourself, please note, he is not asking about your whole life story, your entire life story. He is not asking, he is not even interested. He is not asking about your parents, your backgrounds, your family, your friends, your dog's name, your cat's name. For that matter, it is not about that. What are they actually asking for? That is, what are you going to bring to the table? That is, what it is going to bring to the table. That means, what value could you bring to the company? What problem can you solve for the company if we hire you? That is the main motive behind they asking you that describe yourself or tell me about yourself. Be yourself, okay? Be yourself, but be your best self. You need to be best out of all. Your one mistake, that is, this is the first time you're sitting across the table, okay? But that doesn't mean you need to share everything. You just go on speaking blah, 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 blah. No, we are aware that you are sitting first time in front of that person. You want to impress him. You want to show him that all qualities I have. But no, there's a specific time for it. There is a specific words given for you. They'll ask you, you answer it. You be precise. That shows that you are more and more good listener, good speaker. You don't need to share everything. You are just going to know each other just like a coffee date. It's pretty clear and very frank. So make sure you present best of yours, your strong footwear. Okay? You need to tell them that you are a strong foot former for their organization so as they can hire you. Wherein this comes in picture that what's in it for me. Till now you have heard what's in it for them. But now when you go for an interview, you need to prepare and you need to focus on yourself, knowing what's in it for me. You need to introspect yourself. What's in it? What qualities I have? What skills I have? How best I am? How well I can contribute to the organization? How I can solve the problems of the organization? How I can make them achieve the goals? So for this, there are 3 S we can follow to achieve this. To be the best and to give the best and answer about, tell me about yourself. Okay, you need to follow this 3 S if you want to give the best answer about, tell me about yourself or describe yourself. The first is the success. You need to show how the company or previously you were in organization or your education career, how your efforts contributed to the growth of the company. That is the success. Second S goes for strength. You need to understand the audience. You need to understand the audience. You need to understand the organization you are working in. Then only you can contribute. You need to look after the direction they are following to achieve the growth. And then you need to contribute your efforts in that. And last is the situation. The situation matters a lot. You need to be very well versed with actually what situation the company is in. If it is a growing graph, you need to put your efforts. If they are in degrading graph, you need to put double efforts to get it in outstanding. Okay, next come the strategies. Okay, the successful interviewing strategies. They play a very important role. The one person who is going to hire you will look after the following things: that name, your specific name, then how punctual you are. If they call you around at 9 o'clock, they say that please show up at 9 o'clock. If you be there at 9 or 9 5 minutes or 9 past 10 minutes, that shows that you're not punctual. This is what they're going to observe you for. You should always be half an hour, or I'll say you should always be 3 hours early than to be 5 minutes late. Okay, that shows how punctual you are. That shows how dedicated you are and how much you are aggressive to get that job. Now, what all you need to carry with you while you go for interview is the information, just roughly. You need to have a pen, pencil, whatever you want, your ID, your reference letter, your resumes, 2 or 3 copies, your file prepared for all the documents. Okay. The main first that comes, what defines your personality will be your dressing code. Okay. So with all the aspects together, how observant you are, how punctual you are, one more thing plays a very important role is the how well you are dressed. Okay. So that shows that how organized you are in your life, how you like to impress the people, how you like to project yourself in front of the people, how you can get smile to the person who is sitting in front of you. The attire is determined for the job for which you are applying. Okay. First of all, there should be very well clean and well pressed clothes, cleanly shaved, well trimmed hair, no tattoos, no strong fragrance perfumes, no heavy jewelries, turn off your cell phones, no smoking, no alcohol before you go to the interview. You should have a clean nails and always wear a watch in your hand. Always wear a watch in your hand. Make a habit that you wear a watch in your hand when you go to the time of interview, because that decides and that shows that how punctual you are and you respect the time what has been there and you walk with the time. Now you have to participate in your own interview. Okay, you need to be interactive in the interview. They ask that you answer, they ask you answer. No, you should be very well when you are talking with your friends. You speak in very nice way. It should be interactive, it should be polite, it should be respectful, it should be very nice environment where there should not be any seriousness. Someone is hiring you, someone is put you on the hanging position and saying that answer karo nahi to I won't take you at this position. No, it should be very nice, playful environment. You should be honest, you should give complete answers, no fragmentation accepted. You should be always real about you. You should not fake anything. You should not fake your personality. You should not fake words. Things which you know, say you know. Things which you don't know, say I don't know this. If you want, I'll, or you can't say if you want, but you can say that yes, I'll surely in my future I'll anticipate all these things. Don't answer in one or two words like okay, I will, no. Say a complete sentence. Give concrete examples, okay? And limit your responses. Your answers should be very quick and in very less time, okay? You should sit up, okay? Very erect position. Your hand should not be folded. Your hand should be down, because folding of hands shows that you are dominating the person who is sitting in front of you. You should not cross your arms, you should not cross your legs. You should always keep eye contact with the person who is interviewing you. You should always carry a smile on your face. Whatsoever their reaction is, whatsoever it is, if it is rejection, if it is acceptance, you should always be with a smiling face. That shows that you have the ability to take whatever the response is. If at the end, if they say that, do you have any questions for our company? Do you have any questions? Yes, say yes. Say, be curious. Ask them what your company is actually leading in. Then what is this position actually is. You should ask this. But make sure that you yourself won't ask on what are the salary and wages they are going to give you. And what are the plans for holidays, or else how many holidays are being given. You should not ask this question. It's none of your business, because that actually comes in the letter where they give you the acceptance letter to sign off. So that all comprises of that. You should not ask this. You should only be concerned about what the company is, what it's contributing, and what's the success factor of that company. At the last, you should always express your thank you. Now this you can express by a smile, by saying a thank you, or just taking forward your hand, shaking it. That's it. That will always contribute for your chances to be a part of shortlisting or being selected. But I prefer nowadays, I prefer that with shaking of hand by saying polite thank you, It is more efficient that if you some or the other time just take a 5 minutes time, spare the time and write a thank you letter to conclude to that person. Whether you are being rejected or you've been selected, that's the second part. But if you really want that whatever you have taken from that interview, it may be you are rejected, then you learn from that interview. Maybe you have been accepted, but still you learn from that interview that where you stand, where do you fumble, where do you lag behind. You go through all this, right? So you get to know your weaknesses, you get to know your strengths in that interview. So you're learning in that interview. So always be appreciable to the person who gave this opportunity to judge yourself, to understand yourself. You marketize yourself very well. Give that person an opportunity and say that thank you, because of you I got to know so and so, and thank you for making me qualify in all this candidates, among all this candidate shortlisting, whether whatever the decision may be, I'm happy with it, but you gave me a platform where I can come forward and I can prove myself that these are my skills, and that affects and that impacts your selection category. So I request, from my perspective, you can follow this practice, that you can simply write a thank you letter. This is all about the session. So I I think all of you are now well acquainted with the knowledge about how we can crack the interview, how we can write an effective CV or resume. So that's for the session soft skill development. If you need any help, further suggestion, you're always welcome. You have my WhatsApp number and mail ID in the last 5 shares which I had been sharing yesterday. Thank you so much for keenly listening. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you so much.